Elite Facts presents.
What if you ate moldy bread? Facts and misconceptions about food mold.
5.
What is the mold? Yes, we know mold is what happens when food gets old and inedible, but what exactly is it? Now, this might come as a surprise to you, but it could be one of several different types of molds that have grown on your loaf of bread. That's right, it's not one particular type of mold. There are several bread mold species and types. They also come in varied colors and shapes, similar to when you go to a car dealership, except it's much more disgusting and you don't want it. All jokes aside though, some of these different molds could be the following: Aspergillus, Monascus, Rhizopus, Penicillium, Fusarium, and Monascus. Each of these species has its own color. The Rhizopus is black and fuzzy, while the Aspergillus is finer in texture. The Penicillium species is more grayish-green, has a white border to it, and is fuzzy in appearance. 4. How does this mold grow? Unlike with other forms of vegetation and plant life on the planet, different types of molds are unable to produce their own food to keep them sustained due to the fact that they are a fungus. The reason being that fungus is an organism that has no chlorophyll, and without chlorophyll it can't absorb the energy from the sun and thereby produce its own food, which is why it lives off plants and animals. The reproductive bodies of these organisms, called spores, float around in the air until they can eventually land onto a place that they are able to grow on, thus allowing it to get the sustenance it so desperately needs. This also means that they can be transported through other means, such as through water, insects, and even wild animals. When it comes to the conditions for these molds to grow, it's been shown that molds tend to thrive the most under warm and moist conditions, a la that loaf of bread sitting on the counter in your kitchen right now. When they land on such a surface, they break down the cell walls with the help of digestive enzymes and acids. And as you know, once these spores have attached themselves to some form of organic material, this allows them to grow at a rapid pace, infecting the bread further and sending more spores into the air. It's also said that each spore that attaches itself to said organic material is then divided into two branches, one which is longer and black spores, and the other which is shorter and penetrates the bread to absorb the food. It's not merely the surface that the spores attack. When one can observe mold on the surface of the food, it means that the mold has already gone in deep and has attacked the food from within. It's because of this that we know that the food with mold growing on it has become toxic and dangerous.
3.
Is mold good for you? Yes and no. In some cases, yes, molds can actually be good for you. However, when it comes to bread molds, not so much. Good mold is commonly used to make certain kinds of cheeses and can be on the surface of cheese or be developed internally. Take, for example, hard cheese that contains blue veins. So cheese such as Roquefort, blue Gorgonzola, and Stilton. All of these cheeses are created by the introduction of P. roqueforti, or Penicillium roqueforti spores. As for cheese such as Camembert and Brie, these cheeses tend to have white surface molds. Other cheeses have both an internal and a surface mold. The molds used to manufacture these cheeses are safe to eat. However, when it comes to bread, it's a completely different story.
2.
What happens if you eat the moldy parts? So, because there's different types of molds that can grow on your bread, they all have different after effects whenever they're consumed. While most of them won't kill you, some can make you ill and possibly cause some form of damage to your body. When it comes to sickness, odds are this is due to a common type of mold known as toxigenic or toxin producer, and it has produced significant amounts of the toxin. Now, the kicker here is that misinformation when it comes to consuming moldy products has been spread around and has been for years. We've all been told that eating moldy bread won't kill you, so by that logic, that makes it perfectly fine to consume. Obviously, this isn't true. While it won't kill you, it can make you very, very ill. It doesn't matter if you remove the mold and toast it so it can burn away the diseased parts. That is a myth. If it's moldy, don't waste your time and risk your health. Just get rid of it. While you think you may have removed the mold from your bread, that doesn't mean that all of the mold on that slice of bread has been successfully removed. Some types of mold produce highly toxic compounds called mycotoxins, which you cannot see. Mold spots are an indication that the food is beginning to rot and should be discarded. Whether one gets sick or not also depends on individual susceptibility. Some people may require relatively high concentrations of the toxin to get sick.
1.
How to avoid this from happening? Well, this is going to be an obvious one, but you've got to make sure that your perishable items, such as bread, are closed and sealed securely after use. Obvious, we know, but for good measure, it's always good to mention the basics. Besides, we're sure we have certain members of the household who tend to leave the bag of bread open after grabbing what they want. This goes for all perishable items. More importantly, you must make sure that no perishable items are left out in the open for more than 2 hours. Either wrap it up and put it away or immediately consume leftovers within 3 or 4 days. This is mainly for bread and meats. If mold appears, throw them out the second you see it. Don't second guess it. When it comes to cheeses, though, they're good to keep. Make sure that after you pluck the mold from them, you store it in a different container than what it was in so that it doesn't become contaminated again. And that's our list. Did we leave anything out that you know about? Let us know in the comments section below. And please remember to subscribe and tap the bell button so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.